See this working. Okay. Looks like I am connected and I am live. I have no views, which is fine. The first stream. So, since this is going to be likely kept on my channel as the first time I'm streaming, I might as well do some explanations of what this stream is about. Um, so, I for years have done something called Cardhalla. As part of that, I don't think a lot of people know what it is, but for Gen Con every year, there's a charity event called Cardhalla, and people donate cards, and then people volunteer their time to build card towers, and then everybody goes and Saturday night they do an auction for the first throw, and then everybody throws coins at all these card towers in order to destroy them. Everything gets donated to charity. And so, uh, what I'm, done is I've, volunteered building stuff, but also during the cleanup. And when you clean up, you can take cards with you when you leave, kind of that you clean up. So, been doing it for close to 10 years. I've grabbed a lot of cards. Uh, my big focus has been on a lot of the older cards. I've never really sat down and tried to figure out if anything that I've picked up is worth anything. But a lot of people are always asking, hey, you know, do people donate stuff that's worth money at Card Holla? So recently decided I wanted to get into kind of looking through, over the last 10 years, what cards have I picked up? Is any of it worth any money? And I figured, why not go ahead and stream it and create a video? That way, probably multiple videos because I have numerous, every year I'm probably walking away with 2 or 3 boxes worth of cards. So a few thousand cards every year. So probably close to, if I were a guess, 20, 30,000 cards. So should be a pretty good judge of what's been donated to Card Hollow over the last uh, 10 years or so. And then, I know some of it is actually going to be worth money. People make mistakes. There's hundreds of thousands of cards donated every year. There's bound to be a few that were put in there by accident. Especially I've picked up a few unlimiteds. I don't think I have anything that's alpha or beta. We'll see. It's a lot of Magic the Gathering, but we'll also do some other cards that aren't Magic the Gathering because I've picked up a whole bunch of stuff from them. Um, kind of a variety of different cards, but mostly Magic the Gathering is what I focused on trying to grab. And you just know people make mistakes, but also, over the course of 10 years, there's been new sets that have come out. And so there's some commons and stuff they're actually going to end up being worth some money that, you know, probably weren't worth money when they were donated 10 years ago. That and prices, especially on some of that older stuff, has gone up as time's gone by. Like 10 years ago, I don't know if there was a single revised card that was worth anything. And now, I've looked up a few of those cards already as I was kind of getting ready for this, and there's some stuff that's actually worth a little bit of money in there. Dark Rituals, which is a common card. I have a few of those, and actually I have a few unlimited of them that I think were donated along with the revised because someone didn't realize that they were unlimited. Um, so we'll kind of get into that. Today, I think I will be going through. I kind of wanted to touch on Ice Age. So we'll see what all I have as far as Ice Age cards. And I think there's going to be quite a few of these. Um, I've already tried to kind of sort by set. And then what I have, the way I have this set up is kind of I have a webcam pointed down at this, which I'm just noticing I probably need to flip that webcam. Let's go ahead and rotate 180 degrees. No, this one. Try and rotate the wrong properties. Webcam. Flip vertically. There we go. Oh, not really sure I love that angle now. Try to get more of a top down on this. So let's see. And then what I've done is I've also kind of streamed my phone over here with I'm using a program app called Mana Box. It does a pretty good job of scanning cards and showing what the price is. Let's see. That's right. Picking Ice Age might have picked more than I thought I had of these. Okay. I think that's all of them. I think the next set we'll be going through is, I forget what symbol that is exactly, but we'll go through those probably next stream. But for this stream, I think we'll just get the Ice Age out of the way. So obviously, we are going to have, I guess let's just start over here with stuff I know is not going to be worth anything. Let's see how this works. So Circle of Protection Blue luckily showed up. Well, I'm just going to put anything low price over here. Sea Spirit. Usually you want to have a couple more. So sorry if the phone shakes a little bit as I tap those in. 89 cents. That's not bad, but there's another sea serpent. So 15 cents. And I have two more of those. Sometimes I'll try to, these are a little bit pre-sorted. If I notice stuff that's kind of in the same area. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of on Mana Box is it's not always great at seeing that these are all Ice Age, right? So sometimes they'll pick, hey, it's the same artwork, but it's a different set, right? So, which can be kind of annoying. So, last one we had was an Orcish Healer. So, Vertigo. Once again, it's thinking that's a different set than what it is, and I have a second copy of that. Orcish Conscripts. And four copies of that one. Warning with the second copy, a White Scarab. Cooperation. Circle Protection Blue. Two copies of Blessed Wine. Rally. Four copies of that. Seven copies of Force Void. 5, 6, 7. So as you can kind of see, there's really not, you know, it's Cardhalla. This is, you know, where cards go to die. Somebody has, people are going to have gone through these 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of that. 6. Someone will have gone through a lot of these and said, you know, they're not worth anything. So I'm sure a few people are looking at this going, hey, 19 cents for a card, that's worth something. But by the time you take the time to actually list it, send it out there, well, this is kind of interesting because that's a rare. And this is part of the reason why I'm going through these cards first. So the first few sets of Magic the Gathering cards that were released, um, obviously Alpha, Beta, Revised, Unlimited had no symbol on them. Same with your fourth editions that were a reprint of revised stuff, didn't have a symbol on the side. The other sets, starting with Arabian Nights, had a symbol up here. But despite these looking kind of silver, they're not uncommons. They had no uncommon, common gold like for rare color on these. It was just the set symbol. Um, so the result is when people go and look at these, they're looking for rares. If they have, 4 or 5 of these cards, they might think, oh, those are, in this case, maybe they'll think it's uncommon since it kind of looks silver. But chances are they're going to be like, oh, they're just commons, they're just uncommons, whatever. Go ahead and donate them. Don't, you know, I'm looking for rares or whatever. This is a rare card, right? You can see that kind of gold symbol for the Ice Age there. Let me see if I can find, see, shows a little bit better there with that kind of gold symbol. It's a rare. That's kind of cool to find an old card that's a rare card. It's 49 cents. I think that's maybe the second highest card that we found. One of these earlier ones was 80 something cents. That was like an uncommon, but still kind of cool. Um, Now, what I suspect, so I think this is the first land we're pulling. I would not be too surprised if some of these old Ice Age lands were worth something. Like this one's 53 cents. That's not much. The other thing is, that's 53 cents, probably. That's the market price. I mean, these aren't in atrocious condition considering they're from, 1995, so 29 years old or so. That's not too bad, but you can see some white. Probably, if they were sent into like PSA or whatever, they'd go on about, how much surface wear is probably on these cards. That there's damage and bumps on all the corners and stuff. It's going to get, I mean, maybe not 1 or 2, but it's going to be low. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt when it says 50 cents. That's not perfect condition card. So, but I mean, might be good enough that somebody thinks it's worth it. So this is interesting. There you go. First card that's worth over $1. Actually got 3 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and stick those right there. So 3 copies of, you know, $1+ cards. Uh, so something. And they were rares. 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably had at some point sorted through these. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 again. Yeah. You'll notice a lot of these, like I have a lot of blues in a row. Well, it's because at some point I went through and I sorted these and tried to put all the blues in a row. And if I noticed, hey, I have a whole bunch of whatever card, I kind of tried to put them in order, like with the other cards, but obviously I'm not, I had 3 cease spirits earlier. There's a 4th one, so Obviously, we're not getting all of them like that. Three, four, five, six, seven. All right, so there's another rare. Let's see if people online are big enough fans. I mean, went up a little bit for having a black border, but not much. Look, what a coincidence. This is top card and uh, go down to a card, the same card. I have a whole bunch of these and they're not, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 of them. 4. Oop. 2, 3, 4. Four of those circle protection greens. Kind of odd since it kind of looks like a red fruit. 6 of those. Some lands. So we'll see. 31 cents. Like, I'm pretty sure the snow covered ones are worth something that were in Ice Age. Don't know if any of the ones I have are snow covered, but yeah, there we go. That is a snow covered swamp. So that's $1. So somebody at one point donated a snow covered swamp to Cardhalla. So, man, 10 years ago, I'll bet it wasn't worth much, but now it's worth $1.80 something cents. There's more islands here, and I actually have 3 of those ones. So, yeah. Or, sorry. Putting them in the wrong ones. They're only 76 cents. Still pretty good, but not over $1. So, 3 of those. 2 of this one. And another 2 of those ones. I'm just now noticing I'm not Another one of those. Hey, there we go. Another snow-covered swamp. I kind of wonder if maybe what happened is it doesn't really look like a snow-covered land, and so maybe got mixed in with some other lands. This could be. I was noticing as I was sorting through these pyroblast, it kind of looks like something that somebody might like. So yeah, $4 for that card. So far, that's the most expensive one right there. Pyroblast. And that probably was something when I picked it up, might have been worth uh, something. I have a few more of those pyroblasts there. Now, Woolly Spider, I think that's a kind of funny card in that I actually watched a video one time where that saw some like prof- pro tournament play or something, just because it was one of the few like back then one of the few green cards that could actually block flying. Um, Even though it's a terrible card. Now I don't know if there was one of the few cards in Ice Age that could block flying, or if it was just one of the few cards, even Alpha and Beta, that was green that could block flying. So had some situational use back in the day, maybe. Still don't think it was worth anything, but yeah, there's a couple more cooperations. Seen a lot of those. Oops. Let's see. Let's see, we're up to $44.96 uh, on this, but it's 188 cards. So not a whole lot per card. You know what? I would have thought Prismatic Ward would have maybe been worth something just because it was, you got to choose a color. But like, I'm kind of, I'm not surprised it's not worth anything. I'm a little bit surprised it's not worth more than the cards that you were blocked into a color on. So, kind of interesting mountain there. Doesn't most of the ones for Ice Age looks like they have snow. Right, you can see some snow up there on the mountains there. Uh, but not for that previous mountain. Definitely can see some on that one. But I have a second one of that. So it's not the promo version. 76-cent card. I think I've seen Soulburn used in something. Maybe just because it was one of the older kind of burn cards. 5 copies of it. Because you can, yeah, and pay additional black and red mana, and then you gain 1 life for every black mana that you spent. So it's almost like a drain life, but I think might be a little bit more expensive for initial casting costs, maybe. Uh, 3 warnings. Suppose part of me kind of feels like, should I have pre-sorted these so they would go a little bit faster? Maybe. But then again, if I had, I would have been spending all that time sorting the cards when I could just scan them and then they go in. Another rare, but only 49 cents. So, still cool to see if I ever wanted to have the set. 4 barbs. I wish these were snow-covered lands, but only 2 of those so far. Clairvoyance. I see the Goblin Sappers. It's goblins. Malachite talisman? Sometimes the gemstones are worth something. Although maybe I'm just uh, tricked by the Mox jewels. So the Mox is in Power 9, and then there's a couple other like Mox Diamond and stuff. So Ice Age Shatter. I've seen a lot of shatters as I've gone through these older cards. I, they printed them in, it seemed like almost every single set that they did. It's just uh, mostly different artwork, luckily. So they scan fairly good. Like there's not 300 different uh, times that the same artwork has been used. More barbs. 3 copies of that. I'd rather have 3 copies of Black Scarabs. 22 cents instead of 7, but Centaur Archer. Got more woolly spiders. Well, that's over a third of them gone. I think that's maybe close to the biggest stack here. That's a lot of circle protection whites. Looks more like a circle protection blue. 5, 6. There we go. Illusions of Grandeur. What is it? So gain 20 life? And then lose 20 life when it leaves. It's an enchantment. I mean, it's not bad for an enchantment. I can see how that would have some value. So, $6 rare. I mean, I guess that's one of those cards that 5, 6, 7, 8 that were maybe put in here by accident. So when I go and look, out of 273 cards, that and maybe Pyroblast shouldn't have been in there. That's 2 cards. And they're both cards that people that don't know much about Magic may may think are rares. So obviously, newer stuff that gets donated. A lot of times people pulled all the rares out. Alright, so Hydroblast there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of Hydroblast. I mean, that's kind of what we want to see, or what I want to see. I mean, obviously, it's only $1.85 card. But it's counter spell if it is red, or destroy target permanent if it is red. 1 blue mana. Right, so. Yep. So, I mean that 8 copies at $1.85, that raises those up pretty fast. So, pretty nice there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of Essence Flare, which is not worth anything. Yeah, I'm thinking these Hydroblasts must have been donated back during a time when they weren't worth anything. So that's a close 97 cents. Maybe at some point that's been over $1. It's not right at this moment, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, finding 8 copies of some of these, I mean, that's like 2 decks. If you can have, ooh, Mystic Remora. That's surprising that that's in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of that also. That's very nice. Well, there we go. We're over $100. I mean, that's over $5 card. Actually, I'm going to put those probably put those over here, because I don't think any of the rest of these, from what I remember, have been over 5. Yeah, Pyroblast was like 3. Snow Covered Swamps was $1. Illusions of Grandeur. That was that over 5? Yeah, that was $6. So we have an Illusions of Grandeur. Whatever. Delete that so it doesn't count towards my total. But that's a nice find for Hydroblast, and then right after a Mystic Remora. That, I think that might be the most expensive common in Ice Age. 4 copies of Mystic Knight, which is rare, but not worth even close to what those other cards are. Like, just, it seems like sometimes with the number, like getting 8 a lot, I probably pick them all up kind of in the same year or something. Like maybe it's someone's deck, or a couple decks that they donated. Power Sync Why? Okay, I think that's just that set has rare cards. Yeah, see, it's 13 cents when I put it as Ice Age, which is why I'm going in here and changing. Or, oops. Let's try not. Did that scan? Nah, but any. I had 4 copies of that. Five, six, seven, 8 copies again. The other thing that happens here is, yes, like I've been going card hollow for 10 years. Sometimes they'll get stuff that's donated, and a lot of times when they're cleaning up, they'll collect some cards for next year. And so some of this stuff might have been floating around there for a couple years. So I need to start another stack over here of cards that aren't good. Fire Covenant. Another 5 something dollar card. Very interesting that I'm didn't really expect to be picking up some of these. Evolutionary Wall, we know that's not worth anything. Force Void. Now I'm kind of nervous about what do I have on the bottom here that is. Am I screwing up more Mystic Remorse? I mean, we're only about halfway through these. So, $151 so far. That's surprising. Now, just to be clear, these are so 10 years, we'll say 200,000 cards a year. You know, I picked up maybe 3,000 a year, maybe between 2 and 3,000 a year, and I picked up this much of Ice Age. Uh, during that time, I think this is close to all of the Ice Age cards that I have. So you have to think, even if I have another 8 Mystic Remores in here, that's 16 Mystic Remores out of 20 or 30,000 cards that I picked up, and I probably went through every year. At some point, I'll have to put up a video and some pictures of the card towers that I've done. Uh, I've probably looked through hundreds of thousands of cards. Uh, you know, maybe as much as what maybe as much as 100,000 cards in some years. Hall of Mist. Halls of Mist. No creature can attack if it's attacked during its controller's last turn. So basically, you can if you attack with your cards, then you can untap them and block, but you can't attack 2 turns in a row. Which, for a land card, sure has cumulative upkeep, but might be I can see why that would be a $4 card when you're potentially, you know, if you're running a red deck or something with spells, you're having the damage that someone that has a creature deck can deal to you potentially because they can only attack every other turn. So, at the cost of, let's say replaced one of your land cards with that. So, at the cost of 2 land, every turn you can half your opponent's damage. Which is, no reason why you have to keep it up once you decide to start hitting them. So, Earth Lore. Now, I'm sure one question maybe somebody will have is, how sure am I that these are real cards? You know, especially like those Mystic Remoras. You know, maybe they're somebody's proxies. I don't know. I would think if they're a proxy that, you know, who goes to the trouble of, like, I mean, they look decent. If you're going to print a proxy, it is a little bit off center, but that's not uncommon for the older cards. I mean, why would you print your proxy off center? Yeah, I'm sure if I had a loop, I could take a closer look at them. Interesting. I do see a little bit of something there. But you know what? That kind of seems like it's on these other cards too for Ice Age. So, turn that over and look at that. That's another Hydroblast, which we know is $1 plus. So we'll have that to look forward to in a bit. So, yeah, just make sure. Last card was these array of erasures. Not the right forest. Sometimes I kind of like the older lands. They just kind of look cool. 5, 6, 7. 4, 5. Interesting is Card Hall next year. If I actually go through all of these, you know, I have a much better idea of what's good and what's not. There's another. I think that card was a dollar something, $1.22. I think that was the first card. Yeah, first ones that we had that were over a dollar. So now I have four of them, which kind of makes me think that some of these more expensive cards came from somebody, like specifically a set that got donated where, maybe they went through and pulled all the rares out, the cards that they knew, hey, I had a whole bunch of dual lands in this deck, right? And so they're pulling out the cards that are worth hundreds of dollars, you know, toss all of them back into all the rest of their cards. And then, you know, sometimes I think that's what happens. People go through these and they pulled out everything, the power nines, the dual lands, uh, you know, the bazaars or whatever, like the cards that they're like, oh, I know that's worth money. Like, all of this that I've sorted through, I have yet to find a single Arabian Night card, which is really weird because it came out after Unlimited, and I have probably 20 Unlimiteds. Uh, so people are going, oh, there's expensive stuff in Arabian Nights. So, I'm sure they pulled all of them out at some point. So, kind of makes me wonder if part of what goes on with like that Mystic Remora, I think that's a common card. Someone maybe 10 years before they donated them went through, pulled all the rares out, said, oh, this is a box of commons now. It's sat in their, attic or basement for 10 years. And then they said, what do I do with all these common cards? Let's donate them to Card Hall. That's kind of sad. Went from $3 down to 44 cents. Back to some circle protections. Two of those ones. Maybe need to get this camera set up a little bit better so that it's over the top of stuff at some point. But I'll see if I can manage that for the next stream that I do, which I'll plan on doing tomorrow evening, probably a little bit earlier because I spent a couple hours making sure to get all this set up. Chaos Moon. Yeah. If you'd asked me, I would have thought the Chaos Moon was worth something. It is 92 cents, but yeah, despite it being a rare. I guess maybe a little bit too much chaos for people. Seems almost feels like it has something on it. Yep, that was showing us the wrong set. Ice Age. Save. Couple more. How from Beyond's. Feel like this should be. Maybe I'm thinking of like Vice. Has that kind of similar looking thing on it in a Vice. So Cloak of Confusion. Actually, 3 copies of that, not 2. Brine Shaman. A lot of times these blue cards are what's expensive. Might be a conspiracy that blue has almost always been the better deck. Maybe not always, but pretty often. So maybe just because it's the most annoying deck. Because you counter everything. Two, three, four, five. A few more saber-tooth tigers that aren't worth. I don't know if we've had a. Maybe we've seen Flame Spirit. No, I just marked it as 5th edition. You go back further. I wish Mana Box would pick up the set symbols instead of just the artwork. 2, 3, 4, 5 chub toads. Okay, down to our last stack. Now I know I saw at least one good card in here. That like, what was that? Hydroblast? I don't think we've had Ice Flow before. There we go. Hydroblast. Yeah, notice that was $2 and something cents for the later uh, version. Goes down when it goes back to Ice Age. So, which is always a little bit interesting. I think some of that has to do with you definitely notice it with like revised. Revised cards are worth less than fourth and fifth edition. And it's just the print quality was bad. And so maybe there's a little bit of something similar going on with Ice Age, where print quality is just not as good as uh, the cards in those later sets. I think Shatter was another one of those cards. Yep. If anybody ever is watching this and it's like, oh, you're using Mana Box and you're using it wrong because there's a option to tell it you know, I'm just scanning this set. Uh, appreciate a comment or message or something. That's interesting. 7 icebergs. Uh, had to count those second time because I think I definitely have more 8s than 7s of cards. And a whole lot more 4s. Although that time I have 5. Somebody try and sneak an extra copy in with the deck. Now we are getting down to the bottom of this deck. For a second, I thought that just said darker unicorn. No, it's a darker unicorn. You would think if you're going to name it a darker unicorn, uh, add either. So tap it and add either a water and one colorless mana. Only for cumulative upkeep. Play as an interrupt. Yeah. So I guess if you had that and you had Halls of Mist, right, then you'd be able to pay your upkeep with that creature. Although I kind of feel like it makes the point of Halls of Mist a little bit less of a point since now you're having creatures. Definitely work better with our red burn deck. Although I guess you could do life gain deck. If I had been looking, I have another shatter over here. Would have been nice to pick that up with that other shatter. Okay. Actually, I have 3 more shatters. And 2 orcish farmers. 2 mountain goats. Let's see if we can maybe end this with something good. Not much left to go through. There's one, a land card. Brushland 270, but that's the wrong. That's not Ice Age. Ah, went up on Ice Age. So, yeah, tap, add a colorless. And you can add plains or forest, but deal some damage to you. So, it's kind of like a dual land, uh, but to get that mana, deals damage to you. But you can still use it as colorless mana, which most things require at least one colorless, so. Glad we're getting something in this pile of cards. I think that's the other thing I've definitely maybe noticed as I've gone through these is there's a whole lot of very kind of almost odd land cards that have come up over the years. And for a long time, everybody's focus was and kind of has been on, things like your dual lands, your Gaia's Cradle, right? Stuff like that. 6 valve. So since everybody's focus is on the dual lands, a $5 brush land, is anybody going to really pay much attention to that? Especially when, maybe 5 years ago was a $2 brush land. Like, who's going to keep track of every single $2 card and deck of cards or in Magic the Gathering? You can't keep track of every $5 card in Magic the Gathering. So, there's 3 illusionary forces. forgot to do is check where are these bottom cards. Soul barriers. They're not worth much, so. Let me tell you, I am shocked that we're up over $200 here. Yeah, did not expect that. Yeah, I definitely at least sorted these into, hey, these are cards that require multiple colors of mana at some point. Didn't sort them enough to be like, hey, you've had Centaur or Archer, you know, 3 times in your uh, multiple required mana stack of cards. The Cloak of Confusion. I remember seeing that earlier. I don't know why, but that just sounds like it should be a good card. So, I mean, that seems like it should be a. I mean, I guess maybe just removing a creature is better. Kind of depends on what the creature is. I don't think we had a Knight of whatever before. Knight of Stormgold. Too bad it's not worth anything. Snowman. Two copies. That. Very close to the last of these. Uh, 2 mana, 3 damage card. If only it was 1 mana, 3 damage card, then it would be a lightning bolt. Come on. Get that. My. Over 2 o'clock where I am. And I'm a little bit disappointed. It's just a regular Ice Age swamp. I think the other swamps I had were snow covered. Oh, there's another Mystic Remora. Look at that. So that's 9 Mystic Remoras. I do want to check that last. I think I got so excited seeing that. Yeah, I did go in. It's Ice Age. Cool. Couldn't quite remember if Mystic Remora was a Ice Age only card. Oh, look at that. Some Dark Rituals. Those, I want to say in every set, at least that I've looked at, Dark Ritual's been worth over $1. We'll see if it's same in Ice Age. Yeah, $1.37. So, and we have 2 of them. So 2 more cards over $1. So that's nice to get one more Mystic Remora, 2 Dark Rituals. 76-cent land. Yeah, I'm tempted to just toss that. See how it scans it. Scanned it as land. I do think I'm just going to delete that and toss it because I'd be upset to get a Theus Island with the words lightning bolt written on it. Another dark ritual. Portent? I don't really remember. 5, 6, 7. 7 portraits. And they're 39-cent cards. And then last of these are just 3 soul barriers. So sorry, we're not going to go out with bang this time. What was that? Mythbusters? Go out with bang. One of the core premises of the show. Okay, so let's review. So 690 cards. Yeah. Kind of fun for streaming. Number 69. There's somewhere. Funny. Um, what did we find here? So cards. Let's start with cards over $1. All right. So we have 3 dark rituals, a halls of mist. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hydroblasts, a pyroblast, 2 snow-covered lands, 4 magic or Magus of the Unseen. All right, all cards over $1, under $5. I'm sure you guys are kind of screaming at the fact that these aren't in sleeves yet. I will put them in sleeves, but we have Brushland, a Fire Covenant, Illusions of Grandeur, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Mystic Remoras. So 12 cards that are over $5. Now, I am going to add these to collection of mana boxes. We're going to call this Ice Age. I'm going to go ahead and create that. Obviously, I have a few other ones that I've gone through. So that first one, rares, mythics. That's at one point I pulled out all the rares and mythics, or a bunch of them, and kind of pulled those to the side. They weren't old cards because I don't. It's not obvious what's a rare and mythic. Well, there weren't mythics in the old cards. I have my Tempest and Fallen Empires. We'll do that later. 18 unlimited cards that I've seen. I have way more revised than that. That was just a first test run. A lot of this kind of test runs I've seen. Hey, how does this app work? All of that stuff. I think I can go in here. I want to say I can filter. Greater than 1. Yeah. Apply. So there's all our cards over $1. Does that now show us? Now it's still 230. And then they're all back. I want to say there's a setting somewhere in here. Decks. Yep. I want to say there's a setting in here. Just say, just say only show over $1. Pricing. I don't know. It's sorted there. Most expensive card in the deck there, or in what I found. Illusions of Grandeur. Definitely the most expensive. 9 copies of Mystic Remora. Yeah, almost $6 a copy. Even if we didn't use the market price. if I go, do you think there is? Oh yeah, there's settings. Yeah, I do think there's a way to set it to say like, hey, don't use the most, the market price, which isn't the highest price in there, obviously, but go ahead and use a price that's, whatever the lowest price is. Uh, then we'd get a good idea of, hey, this is somewhere in between these two prices because I'm sure there's some pretty badly damaged uh, cards out there. Let's go ahead and sleeve these up, and then we will call it a night. Oop. Phone turned off. We're going to go ahead and exit that. We'll just have the background of that. But yeah, 200 something dollars for 690 cards. Obviously, these all under a dollar. I doubt anybody's even would even want to take the time listing them on TCG Player unless they were listing them as bulk or just try and get their seller level up, something like that. If you had a card store, and you had employees that were sitting around waiting for a customer to walk in the door, or hey, I want to get, my employee up to 40 hours a week, but, I mostly only need this guy for, Friday night magic and, when we have shipments come in, you know, then you throw them over. Go ahead and put some, yeah, list a few dozen, penny cards up online an hour or a few hundred, you know, or you buy one of those. There's some machines now, they'll go through, scan all the cards. Now, how well do they do? Probably okay, but uh, are they always going to get the right set? Um, like kind of like Mana Box keeps on pulling the wrong set for cards. You know, I'm sure somebody's going to say something about how I'm putting these in sleeves, that I am doing something wrong. I probably am. Now, scary thing is, I bought a box of 10,000 sleeves. So, 100 packages of 100 of these. Thing is, I kind of was looking at it and going, okay, I need probably more than 1,000. Uh, I suspect. Uh, I might need more than 1,000. 1,000 was $10. I could have spent $20 to get 2,000 of them. But, I kind of was thinking about it. And I know a couple other people that play card games and stuff might at some point bring up the fact that I have 10,000 sleeves, and if they want to buy 100 of them for $1, then I'll do that. And considering it was, by the time you pay shipping and all that fun stuff, I mean, Amazon's pretty good about, a lot of times they don't charge shipping on orders over a certain amount. But, by the time you're sitting around waiting for them, all of that stuff. Just seemed to make sense. Get instead of getting 2,000 for 20 bucks, I want to say I got 10,000 for 60 something. So, yeah, almost getting close to a half a penny sleeves. So, there they all are, all in nice new penny sleeves. I know somebody's going to say $5 cards. Why? They're 0.6 something cent sleeves. Yeah, that's not much protection for those. Well, a lot more of these been sitting in closet of mine for, you know, probably a few years, not in anything. So I don't think nothing I'm seeing on them really stands out to me as saying, hey, this is not a not correct. I mean, especially like I probably picked up these dark rituals over the course of multiple times. I doubt I picked up all of these at the same time. So uh, if you're going, if somebody's going to spend the time to do this good of a job on a proxy, you would think they would, yeah, they'd be proxying something that was probably more expensive back then. So, a little interesting there. Got some more significant damage on the back of that card. If I had, maybe at some point I'll invest in uh, a quality like loop or like like a jeweler's loop. Yeah, might be able to show you guys like apparently one of the things is there's some red dots. I don't know if they're on cards that they're this old, but like can't see them, but in that green circle, the way it's printed, it's multiple different layers. There's a tiny bit of red that gets like green printed over it. So you end up with some red dots in the shape of an L. Uh, it's just, there's no way you can see it with the naked eye. But apparently you can see it under a magnifying glass. It's one of the checks that they do because it's such, trying to get that as a forger, like you'd have to get an exact, like the same type of printer with the same setup and the same like uh, puts the ink on in the same way and all that stuff to really be able to get that on the backs of those cards. So almost an impossibility, but somebody will figure it out eventually. So, anyway, I think that is the end of this stream. Um, I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming. I will be back. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll be back Friday. We'll go over some other stuff just to give you guys a little bit of a preview. Uh, or if anybody watches this between now and then, some of thought this was always interesting with that's not one of them. But I have some, so this is a little bit weirder. But yeah, like this I always think these are interesting. So illustrated, whatever it looks like a beta or an alpha card or something actually has symbol there. You actually see it better on the camera than I can. Um, but like this one, I mean, illustrated 1994. Almost first time I saw that and this bog rats, I was like, "Hey, is that a summer magic card?" Uh, nope, it's actually the dark or whatever. You can maybe see that crescent moon on that black background, right? Almost impossible to see. So, but some point we'll go over revised. I actually picked up a whole bunch of dark rituals, red elemental blasts. Those are cheap cards, but I mean not cheap. They're a dollar something. Uh, but I thought that was kind of interesting. See that, and at some point I need to take a look at these. Just a whole bunch of foreign cards. Um, and they're older ones that don't have that symbol. So I'm not really sure what set they are, because these are all 1997, 1996, you know 97, 96. So a couple interesting things that we'll get to at some point. Um, and I will have to redo like Tempest. I videotaped it, but setup wasn't as good. You see, there's stuff in Capsize, Dark Ritual, whole bunch of Shadow Rifts there, of course. Uh, so a couple cards that were good in that, and we'll kind of go over and rescan those and actually do a video of it. I'll probably get the rest of the old cards done first before doing those ones. So, but that's all.